This month, doctors and staff at Southwestern Eye Center traveled to Mexico to provide residents with free eye services. The center has been making this medical mission trip south of the border for almost 20 years. Joining me to talk about this mission is Dr. Bradley Walker with Southwestern Eye Center. Dr. Walker, thanks for joining us on Horizonte.
Thank you.
Now, as we mentioned in the intro, you've been doing this, or the Southwestern Eye Center has been doing this for 20 years, but there was a brief gap. In fact, this is the first time you guys had been back for a few years. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there was a gap of about 3 years. We work with the Rotarians down there in one of the cities, and we keep in communication with them, and there was concern about the cartels and things that were going on at the border, so we elected not to go for a few years.
And where in Mexico do you go?
We go to Nuevo Casas Grandes, and we also go to Dubalan. There's a hospital there, and we actually work in the hospital.
In what state? What Mexican state?
This is in Chihuahua. Mm-hmm.
So kind of in the center of the north. It's a border state, but it's,
yes.
It's a northern part. Yeah.
Yes, we usually cross over at Columbus in New Mexico, across the border there, and the Rotarians actually met us at the border this time and helped us so that we could get down there with our equipment and everything to do the surgeries and take glasses down.
Now, how did this all start?
Dr. Bluth was actually born in that area and grew up there, and so in giving back to the community, he has worked with the Rotarians down there over the years and has gone down to give back to them, and it's been a great mission. We've really enjoyed it.
Now, we've got some pictures of the surgeries that you all do, but you also do eye exams, and it's about what, 4 or 5 days worth of work that you do while you're there.
Yes, we actually in all of our clinics keep boxes there, and patients donate their glasses. We actually take all those glasses and take them down with us. We put that information in the computer so we can go in and figure out which glasses to give to the patients that we see down there.
And how were the patients chosen? I mean, how do they get into the program?
Yes, there are some doctors down there who look at the patients first, and then when we go, I actually have that opportunity to visit with each of those patients and examine them. And that is the hardest part, is trying to decide which of the patients will actually get surgery, for example, to get cataract surgery or have a pterygium removed from their eye.
And what's a pterygium?
Pterygium is a growth that grows up onto the surface of the cornea and can block the vision if it grows far enough.
And are there certain conditions that seem to be more typical of the population you're working with in Chihuahua than they would be here in Arizona, for example?
Yes, there's probably more exposure to ultraviolet light from the sun there in the people that work outside a lot. And so the pterygium and also the cataracts are more prevalent.
And how do you, you say you take your own equipment, we're talking about surgical equipment?
Yes.
And how do you arrange the surgeries? It's not the first thing you do when you get down there. I take it there's a prep time and so forth.
Correct. We have about 18 of us that went this time, and there are 3 others down there. So we work in the hospital, and there's actually some nurses there that help us while we're there. But we have all the supplies, the lenses that we'll need to implant once we remove the cataracts. We take all those with us. We take microscopes and the lighting and everything so that we can just use one of the rooms there in the hospital, one of the surgery rooms.
And the follow-up care is provided by?
Yes, there are other doctors in the area, and they do the follow-up care after we do that initial post-op visit the day after surgeries.
Now, you had stopped going for a few years because of security concerns. Was there anything about this trip that made you think that's no longer an issue and that you'll be going back next year?
Just talking with the Rotarians, I think they helped convince us that things maybe had calmed down a little bit, and that we could go this year and be safe.
And you felt comfortable being there?
We did. We felt very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Dr. Walker, thanks for joining us on Horizonte to talk about this very, very noble and worthy cause.
Thank you again for having me.